I told you the gloves were coming off. I'm sorry, everyone's fair game now. If they're in the media, they're fair game. And I'm not messing about. I'm not messing about. There's nothing personal against them. There's nothing personal against Aaron Jones. He just represents part of the problem. And he thinks he's part of the resistance. He's just... First of all, I don't think I've had a video that's had such unilateral support as that. Usually, there are a few comments saying, no, you're wrong, you're absolutely wrong, especially when I'm taking a stance that is totally against what other people are saying on the left and right about, on the left about him anyway. But it seems that video was a hit. And it's not surprising because he's diverting attention away from the 80% of things that we're not getting, that are fucked up, that we all agree we're not getting, and we all agree we need, all of us, across the political spectrum. He's diverting attention away from that, which are the bigger issues, down to the social issues, which are, what, 10% of what we disagree on. We disagree on, what, 10% of the things? Forget the 90% that we agree on that needs to be changed. Let's just concentrate on the 10%, and that's what he does. And it doesn't matter whether you're concentrating on, you know, the 90% of stuff that we agree, left and right, needs to be changed, or the 10% of stuff that we disagree on how it needs to be changed. It doesn't matter, because 100% of these things are not our fucking fault. They're the same people's fault. So why are we concentrating on it, on attacking each other? You know, somebody said to me, I couldn't. What was it? I couldn't fight with the right because I can't agree with them. It's like, you don't need to agree with them if you're fighting for the same cause. You know, why let people like Owen Jones and the media divert our attention away from what is really important and that we all agree on, down to the things that cause separation and cause conflict? Why concentrate on those things? Why not concentrate on the things that, you know, they're not talking about? And that's what we've got to do. We've got to concentrate on those things and start blaming the people that caused this clusterfuck that's happening at the moment, not just in the UK, but in the world. You know, it's not the right's fault that we're not getting money in the NHS. You know, they aren't trying to sell off the NHS. They aren't trying to privatise it. Do you think Conservatives on the right want NHS privatised? Of course they don't. Well, not some of them anyway. But people like Owen Jones are the problem, is what I'm trying to say. They are the problem. They think they're part of the solution. Because, you know, the thing is, and he doesn't realise this, bless him. He hasn't got a clue. Honestly, I don't think he has a clue. He seems to think everything is a social war. He seems to think everything is a social problem. This is not a social war. You know? It's not a social war, and it isn't about social issues. It's a class war, and it's about class issues. And that's the problem. It's one of the reasons why I think Owen Jones and people like him won't actually address the problem. Because guess which class they're in? You know? Look at the journalists in this country. I'm going to do a video on this later on in the week or next week. And I'm really going to drill down into, you know, who these journalists are at these mainstream media outlets and who these editors are at the mainstream media outlets, and look at them and dissect their history and look at where they were, you know, educated. Because when you actually scratch beneath the surface, they say they're diverse in the media, but they're not. You got black journalists, you got white journalists, you got Chinese journalists, sure. You got Asian journalists, you got, you know, gay journalists, you got the lot. But it's not diverse because they've all been fucking educated from the same system. They all think the same way. You know, it's only diverse socially. It's not diverse by class, and that's the real issue. That's the real issue. It's a class issue, and it's the 99% against the 1% or the 90% against the 10%. It's not left versus right. At least it bloody shouldn't be, and that shouldn't be what we're thinking about. And the thing is, I had this, I had this thought the other day. First of all, You know, don't let them divert their attention away. I mean, that tweet that he did when he was trying to get us all to talk about Islamophobia, don't fucking fall into that. You know, because if you looked at the issues, first of all, we don't want to talk about that. We want to talk about Palestine. We don't want to talk about anti-Semitism. We want to talk about Palestine. We want to talk about Israel's crimes against Palestinians. Israel's anti-Semitic actions against Palestinians, by the way. So if you want to talk about anti-Semitism, fine, we'll talk about that all day. But if you want to talk about smearing anti-Semitism over here, members of the Labour Party, shut the fuck up. We want to talk about Palestine. We want to talk about Venezuela. We want to talk about Yemen. We want to talk about the fact that fucking 1/5 of this country is in poverty. That's what we want to talk about. We don't want to talk about Islamophobia in the Tory Party, which is only slightly more than in the Labour Party. Yes, it's slightly more. The media don't concentrate on that, though, do they? No, for 3 years it's been fucking Jeremy Corbyn is an anti-Semitic. It's preposterous. Absolutely preposterous. And the media are doing it non-fucking stop. And you know what? The public aren't buying it anymore. So it's about time we fought back. And I had this thought about people like Owen Jones. It's not about Owen Jones. It's not a direct attack. I've got nothing against the guy himself. Nothing at all. But what he represents is a type of journalism that fits into the fucking system that causes the problem. That's the problem. If he thought a different way, he wouldn't have a job at The Guardian. If he thought a different way, if he thought the way I did, he wouldn't have a job at The Guardian. If he really stood up for the working classes, he wouldn't have a job at The Guardian. He has a job at The Guardian because he won't do those things, because he concentrates on social issues and identity politics and virtue signalling and that sort of shit. That's why he's at The Guardian. If he was a good journalist, he would have been purged years ago with the rest of them after the Snowden releases. And the thing that makes me laugh the most about people like Owen Jones is I should have put this in the video. The thing that makes me laugh about people like him is he thinks he's like this big crusader for working class heroes. He's fucking not. I tell you what he is, and people like him, they're the UK's hashtag resistance. That's what they are. The UK's hashtag resistance. Owen Jones and people like him, they're the UK's version of Neera fucking Tanden in the US. That's what they are. Establishment shills. Puppets. Picked because of how they think. Picked because, you know what? They blame the wrong things. They divert attention away from the things that, hey, don't let the people talk about that, for Christ's sake, because we're pissing everybody off with there. Getting to talk about the stuff that divides us. Pathetic. See straight through what they're doing. If you actually asked people in the UK, what's the most important issue at the moment for you? Top 3 issues. What is it? And you ask every single person in the UK what that is. Obviously, at the moment, Brexit would be on top, but I dare say then secondary would be health service, third, education, fourth, fight. You know the drill. And if you were to look at that, anti-Semitism and Islamophobia would probably, I don't know, be quite low on the list. Maybe 15th, 16th? What do you think? But if it's 15th, 16th, Islamophobia and anti-Semitism, why the fuck are we talking about that? Why are we trying to fix that? You know? Yes, it's a problem. Sure, it's a problem and it has to be fixed. But if you fixed issues 1 to 14... nobody would be able to blame Jewish people or Muslim people for fucking anything, because we wouldn't have any fucking problems. So concentrating on that is useless in the fucking first place. But he doesn't see it because he was indoctrinated into the background and none of them see it. Some of them, sure. Some of them, I reckon, they see it and they just dishonest. I can't say definitively that he's dishonest, but I tell you this. He's part of the fucking problem, and so are the journalists like him, everywhere in the media. For more truly honest, independent media like the video you just saw, please subscribe and click the bell below as well so you get a notification of when I drop further videos. If you also like and share and comment on the video as well, that really helps with the algorithm and boosts exposure. And if you can support me, please do so. You can do with any of the avenues on the screen at the moment and below this video. You can support me for as little as $1 a month on Patreon, and every dollar helps. We need your support at the moment. We do not have an operating fourth estate. I'm sure you're aware a functioning media holding power accountable is vital for democracy. At the moment, we haven't got it. So people like me are having to fill their shoes and do the job for them with your support. Thanks very much for your support. Till next time. Peace and take care.